Hi, today we're going to be talking about lettuce, but more importantly we're going to be talking about wild lettuce. But first off, we'll start with this one here. This is your regular lettuce that you would buy in a supermarket or a veggie shop or grow in the garden. So did you know that if you put this in the blender or in a juicer and made a smoothie or a juice, you'd probably start to feel a wee bit tired, and maybe if you had some pain you might feel a little bit better, because all lettuce, if you snap them, you'll start to see this white sap called a latex. It's a different latex than what you would see in rubber, so don't get that one confused. So not that you can see it terribly well at the moment, but you know, everyone knows what it's like when you cut lettuce, when it's nice and fresh, has that white sticky substance. So we're just going to pop this lettuce aside for now, but we're going to learn about the one that started this one. So there are a few different types of wild lettuce. So I've got one here, as you can see, is going to seed. So it has about 20 flowers on each stem that comes up, little yellow flowers. So this one here, we're going to look closely at it. This is a bigger leaf here. So this is the shaped leaves. It's a little bit like a dandelion as well. And one way to identify a wild lettuce, is that on the underside, if you look really closely, there's little fine prickles. They are called soft prickles on the midrib of the lettuce, and they go all the way up to the tip from the base. So this one is a great pain relief. So it's a wee bit confusing because you also have this one here, which is also a wild lettuce, but it's quite a different shape leaf, as you can see. So it has the same thing on the back. It's got little fine prickles from down the midrib, from the base to the top. And the same thing is when you have it upright, it kind of hugs the stem as it comes up, and it's got prickles on the stem as well. So let's see what happens. I picked it a wee while ago, so hopefully it'll work. But take it off and look at that white stuff that's coming out. So that is the wonderful white sap, which is helpful for pain relief and also as a sedative. So if you're struggling to sleep at night, this can be a great thing to use. So it is actually gentle on your stomach as well, so it helps with digestion as well as helps you to sleep, and also helps with anxiety and stress. So this one here hasn't quite gone to seed yet, so this one here has. So I'll take a leaf off to show you that the milky substance is here. So as you can see, these ones also hug the stem, and they have a wee bit of a purple blotches on them. So you can see it coming out. Obviously if the plant is still growing in the ground and you take it off, it will ooze it quite well. So now, what part of the plant would you use, and when would you use it? So we're in near the mid-March now, and as you can see, it's all about to flower. So I think I did see one flower open somewhere. So anyway, you can see that they have a little yellow flower. They're fairly small. So this is actually from the dandelion family. So what they will do is they will open up with the flower, and then they will come up with the seed head. So I actually have a bag here. So when you realize just how wonderful wild lettuce is, you might want to keep some of the seeds that have come out. So I've got a bag here, so a good way to keep it is in a brown paper bag, and as you can see, like the dandelions turned into the little white snowball with the seeds. So I'm just going to keep these seeds so that I can put them where I want them to grow, not where they want to grow. And so when you are going to make a tea or a tincture, you use the whole plant. So you'd use all of this and all of the stalk, just cut it down to ground level. It's sometimes a wee bit tough to cut, so you might want some bone scissors or something like that, or a sharp knife. So I will show you more of the sap. So the reason you are going to be picking this before it flowers is because this is when it's at its strongest. So you could eat this as a vegetable or a salad. Not so wonderful, but still good for you. But you would eat it earlier in the season before it flowers. So therefore it would be more tasty. But when it's got to this point where it's about to flower, it's pretty strong, but that's the part that we're wanting. So I would chop this all up nice and fine and take off all the leaves, and then I would just pop it on a tray. So I would have washed it beforehand, and you can see there's some bits that are a bit miserable here, but as you can see there's heaps to it. So I have got some here dried. So this is what it's like when it's all dry. So I'm just going to pop it to the side, and I'm just going to show you how to make a tea. So you can use this for making a tea when it's dried, so that way you can store it for the whole year until you come to next season. So now I've got my fancy cup, which has a little sievy bit. So you can take a leaf like this and you pop it in here, and the jug's just boiled, so I will just pour this over the leaf. So you don't want to boil this by putting it in a pot and boiling it and then thinking, oh yep, you're having a very healthy tea that's going to help with pain, because you've actually just boiled away all the goodness. So I'm just going to let it seep. So you need to seep it for 10 minutes. So by keeping a lid on it just helps to keep it nice and hot. So I'm just going to pop it over here. So if you're wanting to make a tincture, which is what I've just made here, so not everybody wants to use alcohol. Alcohol is a really good way of bringing out the nutrients and the good stuff in here, but not everybody likes to use alcohol. So I've made a glycerite, which isn't really called a tincture, but it's a tincture using glycerin. And so I have to mix it every day and keep it out of the sun. As you can see, I didn't bring a spoon, but you can see it's it's glycerine and water, and I've just covered. So I actually use dry leaves. I'm not an expert in this, I'm just doing what I have on hand, and so I dried the leaves, and then I filled the jar, and then I put half glycerine and then half water, and then I mixed it, and then I've been keeping it in a dark place, and I'll need to keep it there for a good couple of weeks. So I'll probably maybe leave it 6 to 8 weeks. Some leave it 12. So once it's finished, it's processed, then I'll need to drain it. And what I normally use is my big net, which I use for making elderberry syrup and preserving or making a jelly or something like that. But what you'll want is something heavy duty. So you could use a muslin, but you're going to need to really wring it out and let it drain, hanging on something. So sometimes you like to use bowls and big wooden spoon and different things, but you really want to let it drain out as much as possible, because you don't want to lose any of the goodness that is in there. And then you'd bottle it and make sure you label it so that you know, and the date, so you know how long you've had it, because sometimes you can have things in the cupboard that's been there for years and years. So this is just great to have on hand when someone's got an injury, so that you don't have to reach out and grab something that's going to have side effects in it, and something that you know what you're having. You also have the tea to remember. So this is probably nearly done now. So what I do is I just drain it like this, and you could put a little bit of honey in it. There we go. This is lovely. So you want to not overdo it by having too many leaves in a tea. So sometimes people like to just try it with one leaf and then sort of see how they go. Sometimes it can be a bit much, but it's not addictive and it doesn't have any of the bad side effects. So yeah, hopefully you can find some in the garden. but it's only around for a short time of the year when you would be wanting to harvest it because it's flowering. So March is a great time to find it and to harvest it. So I hope you get out there and use what God has given us right at our doorstep.